Hi LEGO fans! Enemies of the heir beware! The Chamber of 2021 LEGO Harry Potter set has been opened and we have a fantastic reboot of one of my favourite sets from 2002. Last time we took a visit to Hogsmeade, enjoying some sweet treats and a pint or two of butterbeer in the Three Broomsticks. But today I'm going to be unboxing, speed building, reviewing and comparing set number 76389 Hogwarts Chamber of Secrets from LEGO Harry Potter! It's one of the more expensive sets from the new wave and retails for 130 Great British Pounds, 130 US dollars, or 140 of those things that you spend in Europe. This is not the first time the Chamber of Secrets has been recreated in LEGO. It first appeared 166,000 twists of a time turner ago in 2002, but this new version looks petrifyingly good. The near 1200 piece part count includes 11 magically magnificent minifigures. We've got a 20th anniversary gold edition of He Who Must Not Be Named, Sir Nicholas de Mimsy-Porpington aka Nearly Headless Nick, the memory of Tom Marvolo Riddle, the cowardly but talented with memory charms Gilderoy Lockhart, Albus Dumbledore as portrayed for the final time by Richard Harris, and then for the first time we have Astronomy Professor Aurora Sinistra. We do of course have Harry James Potter, and this would not be a Chamber of Secrets set without Ginny Weasley. But my favourite minifigure may just be Harry Potter superfan Colin Creevey. Not now, Colin! Oddly, LEGO has included Luna Lovegood, who does not appear in the books or the movies until Book 5 The Order of the Phoenix. Finally, making his first appearance as a minifigure, we have Hufflepuff Justin Finch-Fletchley. As well as the minifigures, we have a brand new Basilisk and some very cool looking Cornish Pixies. I hope they're freshly caught. 2021 marks the 20th anniversary of LEGO Harry Potter, and this momentous occasion is called out proudly on the front of the box. One thing you may have noticed about these 2021 Hogwarts sets is that LEGO has reverted to the original sand green roof colour. I definitely appreciate the retro throwback to the original sets, but this could be really annoying if you've invested in all the grey roof sets. Over on the back of the box we get to peek inside the castle where most of the cool stuff is. It's built in kind of a modular configuration, which means you can take it apart and presumably connect it up to the other Hogwarts sets. Inside the Great Hall you can recreate Lockhart's Dueling Club. There was actually a set recreating this in the 2002 wave of LEGO Harry Potter. Other features include Lockhart's office complete with wig and Professor Sinistra's astronomy class. It's also great to get one of these transparent pieces so you can pose a student taking flying lessons. As well as being somewhere to practice dueling, you can enjoy a nutritious breakfast inside the Great Hall before venturing to your Defense Against the Dark Arts class. But the thing I'm really excited about is the Chamber of Secrets, which lies beneath Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. I'm also intrigued to find out which 6 collectible wizard cards we get inside this set, and to see just how good the glow-in-the-dark Nearly Headless Nick minifigure is. I can't wait to get building, so let's open up this box and see what we get inside. Hello, Amora! Here's everything you get inside the box, and it kinda confirms what I suspected. This is one big box with quite a lot of Danish heir inside it. We've got 10 bags of LEGO numbered for stages 1 through 9, 2 8x16 base plates, a 170 page instruction booklet, and joy of joys, the dreaded sticker sheet. I'm going to go ahead and put together the 76389 Hogwarts Chamber of Secrets, and today this is going to be a 2 minute and 32 second speed build. And here is the completed 76389 Hogwarts Chamber of Secrets from LEGO Harry Potter! Build time was 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I'm pretty sure Salazar Slytherin would approve of the end result. We'll start by taking a look around the exterior of the castle and checking out those 20th anniversary sand green roofs. We will of course be exploring the interior, including the Defence Against the Dark Arts classroom, the office of 5 times winner of Witch Weekly's Most Charming Smile Award, and Professor Aurora Sinistra's Astronomy classroom. Not now, Colin! After a breakfast of Cheerios and pumpkin juice, we'll be engaging in a little dueling practice before matters get taken out of our hands and we end up deep in the bowels of Hogwarts for a date with the Serpent of Slytherin. Later in the video, we'll be taking a close-up look at all of the minifigures and comparing them to their on-screen counterparts. I'll also be revealing which 6 wizard tiles came with my set, and if you're really lucky, I may even show you how this Chamber of Secrets compares to the 2002 version. As I mentioned earlier, this set is modular and you can mix and match sections of the building with other sets. 76386 Hogwarts Polyjuice Potion Mistake and 76387 Hogwarts Fluffy Encounter are specifically designed to fit together with the Chamber of Secrets. Although you can use the modules to build this in many different configurations, LEGO's recommended build leaves you with 3 buildings. The smallest part of the set is the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets, which we'll come back to a little later. We also have the Great Hall, which stands 30 centimeters or 12 inches high, and this monstrous beast of a tower which is set on 4 levels. To display this properly, you're going to need 16 inches or 41 centimeters of headroom. To make this easier to display, LEGO has included a bunch of different connection points. These make it easy to snap the different parts of the set together. For 2 buildings that came out of the same set, these almost look like they were designed by 2 different people. The continuity is best down here at the bottom where Hogwarts sits on a rocky outcrop. We've got some blue plates representing the Black Lake which washes up to the cliff, some algae growing on the side of the rocks, and say hello to my little amphibian friend. I really like the use of these large rock pieces which add some texture to the cliff face. Strangely, in this section which sits beneath the Great Hall, we've got a couple of flaming torches. You'll also notice a locking mechanism and a piece of wall that can be removed. We'll come back to that a little later. On the far side, the rocky face ends and Hogwarts rises towards the heavens. The architectural details are very similar to the 2019 and 2020 sets. The key difference you'll notice is that all the roofs are made out of sand green elements and not dark grey. I really like the leaded windows which are set in arches, and we have the Hogwarts school crest mounted proudly on the outside. Detaching the Great Hall, we get a better look at the decorative columns. Being a castle, we do of course have crenellations at the top, and up here we find a tower room where Gilderoy Lockhart signs autographs. I love the bay window which gives Lockhart an amazing view over the Black Lake, and little features such as the decorative scrolls and textured bricks. At the top of the tower, a very tall and shiny sand green roof. The turret on the side is a really nice detail and fits the Hogwarts aesthetic. Perched on the other side is Harry's owl Hedwig, whose name he plucked out of A History of Magic. I'm not sure this is a specific tower, but it does look really cool. Turning our attention to the Great Hall, this is an impressive looking building. It's also featured in quite a number of different LEGO sets. The very first time was in set number 4709, Hogwarts Castle from 2001. If I don't forget, you'll find a link to that review on screen now. Ignoring the giant but super impressive micro-scale version, the last time LEGO made a real Great Hall was in 75954 Hogwarts Great Hall. If you are hoping to combine the 2021 sets with the 2019 and 2020 versions, I imagine you could be pretty disappointed. LEGO has been using dark grey for the roofs, which is pretty much screen accurate, but if we wind the clock back to earlier sets, such as the classic 4842 Hogwarts Castle, you'll notice that LEGO was using green roofs. These have been around since the original 2001 set and hold quite a lot of nostalgia. I actually do like the green roof, especially with those textured cone pieces on top. It's slightly simplified compared to the 2019 version, but all of the details are here. The tower up on top looks great and hides a secret that we'll reveal a little later. There are floor-to-ceiling leaded windows and some really nice decorative details along the roofline. Some of these elements look like they've been plucked from a LEGO Friends set. Now of course Hogwarts looks great from the outside, but you didn't click on this video for an architecture lesson. So let's spin this around and check out all of the cool stuff on the inside. It's impossible to miss the Chamber of Secrets, but before we open up that chapter of the story, let's take a tour of the castle itself. We're starting in the Great Hall, which is small but perfectly formed. Giving us a sense of the magical enchanted ceiling, we have a bunch of candles floating around. Well, they're not exactly floating, but you get the idea. Instead of 4 long tables, one for each of the houses, we actually have 2. The tables are laid out for breakfast, but this is not exactly how it would have looked in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Director Chris Columbus loved to have real food on the tables, although this did lead to some really bad smells. It was in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix that we were introduced to Cheery Owls and Pixie Puffs. They're gobbling great! As you can see in later movies, we did have stuff like toast on the table, but most of the food was non-perishable. Getting back to breakfast, it seems we don't have a great selection of nutritious options. We have a European favourite, the croissant, goblets of pumpkin juice, which sounds absolutely revolting, and some good old bone china cups for a little English breakfast tea. Although not typical breakfast fare, we also have some chocolate frogs hopping around. Other recognisable features include the lectern from which Dumbledore announces this year's Defence Against the Dark Arts teacher. I'm afraid this one isn't very good. And of course we have a welcoming fire complete with trans-orange flames. Clearing away the breakfast things, we can recreate Lockhart's Dueling Club. Unfortunately, we're missing key characters from the scene such as Snape and Malfoy. It really is a shame that we don't have Draco, as there is a really cool interactive feature here. You can hit a minifigure with a spell and send them flying. You may recall that this is the scene where Harry is revealed to be a parcel mouth. That's somebody who can speak to snakes just like Salazar Slytherin. To complete the scene, LEGO included a snake and Justin Finch-Fletchley. Moving on up, there's a bunch of interesting artifacts in the attic space above the Great Hall. Here we have what seems to be a very small wizard's chessboard, some precious looking stones, dare I say that one of them might be the Resurrection Stone, and a mysterious looking object which could be a prophecy. In the centre we have a large stickered piece depicting a knight wearing a breastplate complete with the Hogwarts school crest. If we lift this up, it reveals a secret. It's Sorty McHatface! Technically the sorting hat should be in Dumbledore's office, but we'll allow LEGO a little artistic license here. It's a really nice moulded element and recreates the sorting hat perfectly. Finally, hidden away right at the tippy top, we have another one of the chocolate frogs. With breakfast done, our first lesson of the day is Defence Against the Dark Arts in Classroom 3C. Here we see it decorated for Gilderoy Lockhart's unique taste. Other Defence Against the Dark Arts teachers included Quirinus Quirrell, who used a temporary classroom because the 3rd floor corridor was out of bounds. After Gilderoy Lockhart's tenure in 1992-93, Remus Lupin took over the role until 1994, and we were introduced to the very amusing Snape Boggart. 94-95 was meant to be Alistair Moody, but we got Barty Crouch Jr. on Polyjuice Potion. In the 95-96 school year, Dolores Umbridge took the role, and I must not tell lies, she was not very popular. Severus Snape finally got his chance in the 1996-97 school year, but by this time, Harry, Ron and Hermione had gone off chasing Horcruxes. As a bonus fact, during his early teaching career, a young Albus Dumbledore occupied Classroom 3C in his capacity as the school's Defence Against the Dark Arts teacher. The observant of you may have noticed the subject for today's lesson: freshly caught Cornish Pixies. As described in the book, the Pixies were electric blue and about 8 inches high with pointed faces and voices so shrill, it was like listening to a lot of budgies arguing. The LEGO versions may look a little bit like aliens, but they are absolutely fantastic. The set comes with 2 of these magical mischief makers, which are very similar to LEGO babies. They're moulded out of light blue plastic with some metallic flecks, and there's even some really crisp printing for the mischievous face. Around the back you can see that each pixie comes with a pair of wings, large ears, and a set of antennae. After setting the pixies loose in the classroom, Lockhart attempted to round them up using the incantation Pesky Pisky Pestanomi. This of course did not work because it wasn't a real incantation. Thankfully Hermione Granger was able to nip the rest of them back into the cage using a freezing charm. Classroom 3C is recreated on a very small scale and lacks some details like the dragon skeleton hanging from the ceiling. There are a couple of seats for studying questions like what is Gilderoy Lockhart's favourite colour, lilac of course, and miscellaneous bits and pieces dotted around the classroom. I'm a big fan of the pink frog which appears in abundance with the LEGO bonsai tree, and the glittery flask of potion. There's also a portrait of a rather roguish looking wizard and a skull. But the most striking feature of this room is the large portrait which shows Gilderoy Lockhart, Order of Merlin 3rd class, painting none other than Gilderoy Lockhart. Checking back to the movie, you see exactly this. Up on the next level within a nice compact module, we find Gilderoy Lockhart's office. This is where Harry and Ron corner Lockhart as he's trying to escape from Hogwarts. There are some fantastic details, including Gilderoy's spare wig, a stack of autographed photos, and a bunch of photographs of the Great Fraud himself. Of course he didn't do any of the stuff that he wrote about, he just found the people who did, stole their story, and erased their memories, because if there's one thing Gilderoy Lockhart is good at, it's memory charms. My favourite picture is the one taken in Flourish and Blots, which made the front page of the Daily Prophet. Although not easy to see, you may have noticed the chocolate frog hiding behind Lockhart's chair. There's another one of those out on the roof terrace next to Lockhart's office. Even more interesting is the clear plastic piece which pivots up and down. It's perfect for posing nearly Headless Nick floating above the castle. We'll catch up with Sir Nicholas de Mimsy-Porpington and ask him about his application to join the Headless Hunt later in the video. Our final destination before we venture into the bowels of Hogwarts is the Astronomy class. This is home to Professor Aurora Sinistra, who we see very little of in the movies and will meet very shortly. Astronomy is the branch of magic and science that studies stars and the movement of planets. This was not, shall we say, Harry's favourite lesson. Here we find a rather fancy looking telescope for studying the lunar phases. I do rather like the green crystals in place of lenses, but I suspect the optical clarity may not be very good. Helping the students to learn about the constellations, we have a star chart. This is a stickered part, but I do recognise the plough, or as it's known in America, the Big Dipper. Also up here we have a glow-in-the-dark orb. If I remember later, I'll mess around with all the camera settings and show you how that works. LEGO has done a really nice job with the interior of Hogwarts, but let's not forget that this is a Chamber of Secrets set. This is the part of the video where I should be talking about the second floor girls' lavatory. The problem is, of course, that I haven't built that yet. After deducing that the Chamber of Secrets could be reached via the girls' bathroom and that Gilderoy Lockhart couldn't be trusted, the boys take some advice from Moaning Myrtle, Harry speaks a little bit of Parseltongue, and the fancy hand-washing station opens up, revealing a tunnel. We do have the end of the tunnel, but when we track up to where it starts, clearly this is not the right place. The start of the tunnel comes with the Polyjuice Potion mistake set, so we'll check that out another day. Back to the story, Lockhart, Harry and Ron's stunt double slide down into a chamber below the dungeons of Hogwarts. Here they find the remains of various animals that the basilisk has been feeding on. The white frog avoided becoming lunch but seems to have been petrified. After a disarmed Lockhart steals bootleg Ron's spellotaped wand, his memory charm backfires, erasing his memory and causing the chamber to collapse. With Ron and Lockhart trapped, Harry goes on alone and finds the gateway to the Chamber of Secrets. This is located deep underground, so I'm not really sure what's going on with the roof. On the positive side, I do like this owl, which is a design I've not seen in a Harry Potter set before. The gate, which can only be opened by speaking Parseltongue, is absolutely fantastic. The real thing has a locking mechanism made out of snakes, and as you can see, LEGO have done a great job of recreating that. There's also some really nice trans green detail which matches the colours of Slytherin. Hiding on the other side is another chocolate frog and a couple of 1x1 round glow-in-the-dark tiles. After uttering a few words of Parseltongue, it's showtime! Finally we arrive at the Chamber of Secrets, where Ginny Weasley's body will lie forever. Or at least until about 10 minutes before the end of the movie. Like the rest of the set, this is modular and the top bit can be removed. Oddly, the breakfast table complete with Cheery Owls and Pixie Puffs is an integral part of the Chamber of Secrets. The head is the only visible part of a huge statue of Slytherin, who turns out to be quite a vain chap. The rest of it is said to be submerged in the flooded chamber. For comparison, here's the Slytherin statue as shown in the movie. The resemblance is pretty good, but I don't like this quite as much as the statue from the 2002 set. The eyes are very realistic, but you know my thoughts on stickering. A good amount of detail went into Slytherin's hair, which is unfortunately hidden away in the shadows. Speaking of detail, check out these awesome serpent statues. The Chamber of Secrets as shown in the movie is lined with these things. We had to put up with some printed panels in the 2002 set, but LEGO is using a completely new element for this set. This slippery serpent statue is dual moulded from light grey and trans green plastic. They even used trans green for the eyes and it looks amazing. After spending 2 hours of the movie trying to figure out who is the heir of Slytherin, it finally dawns on Harry that that person was Tom Riddle. Voldy couldn't come to the party because he had no body to go with. That's why Lucius Malfoy planted Tom Riddle's diary in Ginny Weasley's cauldron in Flourish and Blots. The Secret Diary of Tom Riddle, aged 13 3/4, turned out not to be quite the exciting read that Ginny thought it would be. Instead, it started using Ginny to release a basilisk and write threatening messages on the wall in chicken's blood. Ginny in the end was just being used as a tool to get to Harry Potter. Well, I mean, Dobby did try to warn you, Harry. Harry Potter must not go back to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry this year. Realising that he's been spending too much time monologuing, Tom decides it's time to get out the big guns. Subscribe, Remember this locking mechanism around the back? This allows us to completely remove the mouth of Salazar Slytherin. Hidden within this removable section is a basilisk fang, which is quite fortuitous. When summoned by the heir of Slytherin, the basilisk emerges from the mouth of said wizard's statue. The basilisk is quite a big and impressive LEGO model and bears a good resemblance to what we saw in the movie. The head is a custom element with some really nice printing, and we have an opening jaw. The teeth are built into the basilisk, which is why it's fortuitous that we have the spare fang. The head and the neck are flexible, so it does give you some different options when it comes to posing the basilisk. The limitations of the LEGO system means that the body isn't very realistic. LEGO has used modified 1x3 plates along the side to give the effect of scales. The tail itself is made up of several elements and gives a good snake-like appearance. There's no question this is a very cool looking basilisk. But how does it compare to the 2002 version? I think it's fair to say that these are very different beasts. The camera angle may not show this, but both basilisks are the same size in terms of length. Apart from a couple of pieces in the tail, there aren't many similarities between the two builds. The heads in particular are very different. The new basilisk is definitely a lot more screen accurate. I've got to admit though that I do still like the older version. The use of very expensive to replace glow-in-the-dark daggers for teeth was genius. When it comes to recreating the battle between Harry and the basilisk, we really don't have all of the things we need in this set. For example, we're missing forks. The example I'm showing here came from the 2002 set. Dumbledore's phoenix gouged out the eyes of the basilisk, taking away its superpower. With no eyes, Harry was no longer at risk of being petrified. Although I've got to say he does look very frightened here. Although LEGO didn't provide Dumbledore's Great Defender with a songbird, they did provide him with an old hat. Gryffindor! At Hogwarts, help is always given to those who deserve it. In Harry's moment of need, the Sword of Gryffindor appears from inside the sorting hat. Without a moment's thought for his own safety, or the thousands of galleons Slytherin paid for pet insurance, Harry stabs the basilisk in the head, rendering it dead. Unfortunately for Harry, in the midst of the fray, the basilisk bit him in the arm, leaving one of its teeth behind. That's convenient. Phoenix tears would quickly reverse the venom, but LEGO didn't give us a phoenix. Sorry, Harry! Glossing over the massive plot hole in this LEGO set, Harry suddenly gets the bright idea to stab Tom Riddle's diary. Although Harry at this stage hadn't even heard of a Horcrux, destroying Tom Riddle's diary also destroyed the memory of Tom Riddle. Oh, and Ginny woke up! LEGO's approach to the 2021 Chamber of Secrets set is definitely different to the 2002 version. This is a much more rounded set, and I love the way it integrates Hogwarts and the Chamber of Secrets into one build. In the Battle of the Basilisks, I'm afraid the 2002 version gets it. The newer version gains points for this fantastic snake-decorated gate. But then they went all cheap on us and made the second floor girls' lavatory an optional extra. Although the statue of Gryffindor, complete with stickers, is more movie accurate, I still like the brick-built version from the 2002 set. Its simplicity is very charming, and I love the way how you can make the basilisk burst through the mouth. Earning more points for the new set are these fantastic snake sculptures. The 2002 printed panels were very cool and unique, but they weren't as badass as these things. So this 2021 set includes a really cool Hogwarts build, the interiors are fabulous, and I love the details like the Cornish Pixies, Lockhart's spare wig, and the Wizarding World themed cereal boxes. This is a really good modular playset, but that is not all. Oh no, that is not all. We also have 11 magically magnificent minifigures to take a look at. Harry Potter, Ginny Weasley, Tom Riddle, Colin Creevey, Justin Finch-Fletchley, Luna Lovegood, Gilderoy Lockhart, Albus Dumbledore, Professor Aurora Sinistra, Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington, and the 20th anniversary He Who Shall Not Be Named. We're starting with the boy what gone done lived and had the cojones to stick the sword of Gryffindor through the brain of the basilisk. It's Harry James Potter! As this is based on the second book, all of the students have the short, non-posable legs. The torso printing is really nice and shows Harry wearing the full robes that you often see the kids wearing in the first two movies. He's got a white shirt with Gryffindor tie, Gryffindor school jumper, and Gryffindor badged robes. There's more printing around the back showing the hood and a little bit of the red lining. Instead of his 11-inch wand made of holly with a phoenix feather core, Harry's accessory is the magnificent sword of Gryffindor. This is a particularly nice thing, especially with those red rubies set in the handle. Being a goblin-made sword, the sword of Gryffindor only takes in what can make it stronger. It turns out Harry was doing it a favour. Stabbing the basilisk actually made this thing more powerful. The facial expression has been used on other Harry Potter minifigures, but look at the printing. You're a mess, Harry. I could go on about quality control, but I think you can see what's wrong here. The alternate expression is definitely my favourite and is ever so slightly better printed. Go you, LEGO! Comparing the minifigure to the character in the movie, LEGO absolutely nailed this. Okay, so a fabric cape may have been a nice addition, but they got the long robes, it looks like Harry Potter, and the hair is absolutely perfect. Although not all of the parts are new, this, like the other 10 minifigures, is exclusive to this set. It's a really nice recreation of Harry Potter in his second year at Hogwarts, and they did a great job with the costume. Next we have the future Mrs. Potter. This is Ginevra Molly Weasley, also known as Ginny, and occasionally called Gin by Harry Potter. She started Hogwarts the year after Harry and was also sorted into Gryffindor. I don't think Ginny's wand was ever described in the book, but it's believed to be made out of yew, and in this case is the same colour as Ginny's hair. Saving us a little time, Ginny's costume is exactly the same as Harry's, although I'm not sure that's exactly how it was in the movie. Ginny's costume definitely included a skirt and not a pair of trousers. I can see why LEGO took the shortcut, but you can't sneak that one past me. The facial expression isn't new, but it's super cute, and I love the way those freckles complement the red hair. The alternate expression, on the other hand, shows Ginny looking really sad. Perhaps her jumper wasn't on the cat after all. If we forgive LEGO swapping out the trousers for a skirt, the minifigure's resemblance to the on-screen character is really good. My favourite Ginny minifigure remains this one, which came with the burrow in 2010. But this is a nice recreation, and you just can't have a Chamber of Secrets set without her. To take a closer look at the 2002 Ginny Weasley, do check out my review of the 4730 Chamber of Secrets set. Moving on from the girl who opened the Chamber of Secrets, here's the guy who made her do it. This is Tom Marvolo Riddle, named after his filthy muggle father. This is actually the third Tom Riddle minifigure. He first appeared in yellow-faced form back in the 2002 Chamber of Secrets set. Another version came out in 2020 as a book cover mounted exclusive. If you want one of these, you'll need to hunt out Dorling Kindersley's Magical Treasury, A Guide to the Wizarding World. This version of the young Dark Lord seems to be the most screen accurate to date. I thought the costume might be printed in black and white like the flashback scene when Harry is sucked into the diary, but on closer inspection I do see the silver and green Slytherin house colours. Tom is wearing old-fashioned but very dapper Hogwarts robes over a grey suit. The leg printing looks good from the front, but not so good from an angle. This could still be flashback Tom, as the Hogwarts crest is not coloured, and Tom is missing his prefect badge. Around the back we find some more printed detail for the hood, and the lack of green lining also points towards this being flashback Tom. The facial expression seems to be new and shows a rather passive looking Tom Riddle. The alternate expression, however, is a corker and shows Tom Riddle flying into a rage. Although this is only Tom Riddle's third outing as a minifigure, this for me is definitely the best of the three. This cheeky chappy, possibly my favourite minifigure from the set, is budding photographer Colin Creevey. He comes with a dark brown wand, but that's not the accessory he's remembered for. Not now, Colin! Oh, actually, yes, now! Colin also comes with the fantastic old-fashioned camera which stopped him getting killed by the basilisk. Unless you look it directly in the eye, some stewed mandrakes are your get out of jail free card. Although Colin's also in Gryffindor, his torso print is slightly different to Harry and Ginny's. By far the best thing about this minifigure is the facial expression. He's so cute I could eat him up. The alternate expression, however, shows a much more sad Colin Creevey. It's like Harry Potter wouldn't give him an autograph. Colin also has printing around the back for the hood of the robes. You'll notice this is also slightly different. The hairstyle is a great choice for the character, and I love the way the eyebrows match the hair colour. In fact, LEGO has done a great job of turning the movie character Colin Creevey into a LEGO minifigure. He's absolutely brilliant. I doubt we're going to see another Colin Creevey anytime soon. I won't spoil the last movie for you, but this minifigure is an absolutely magnificent addition to the set. From one B-list character to another, this is the almost impossibly posh Justin Finch-Fletchley. His name was down for Eton, you know. Justin was sorted into Hufflepuff and played on their Quidditch team. He also has the short non-posable legs and was in the same year as Harry Potter. Justin comes with a wand which I believe is cherry, 10.5 inches long and has a unicorn hair core. He also comes with the snake we saw earlier, but clearly he's not so happy about that. Maybe it's because it's a rattlesnake and it should have been a cobra. The torso print is very similar to the Gryffindor one, but of course has the Hufflepuff colours. He's got a similar combination of white shirt, Hufflepuff tie, Hufflepuff school jumper and Hufflepuff decorated robes. While the torso printing may be screen accurate, I'm not so convinced about the face. Justin Finch-Fletchley has a very distinctive facial expression. This facial expression, smiley as it may be, is very generic. The alternate expression shows Justin looking a little bit worried. He looks a little like he did when he thought Harry Potter was setting a snake on him. As a recreation of a generic kid wearing Hufflepuff robes, I can't fault this minifigure. Hufflepuffs don't often feature in LEGO sets, so to get a Hufflepuff character is a bonus. I just think LEGO could have tried a little bit harder to recreate Justin Finch-Fletchley's distinctive look. Our final student minifigure from this set is Luna Lovegood, who later goes on to become Luna Scamander. While she might be lacking a butterbeer necklace, she does come with a wand. This would be her first wand, which was confiscated by Death Eaters in 1997. As you'd expect from a school uniform, this looks very similar to the other students. Her torso print comes from Ravenclaw House and includes a white shirt, Ravenclaw tie, Ravenclaw school jumper, and you guessed it, Ravenclaw robes. Printing around the back is pretty much what we'd expect. You can see the hood with some of that Ravenclaw blue lining. The facial expression is definitely not new, and I don't think this is unique to Luna. It kind of does have the dotty vacant expression we'd expect, and I love those cute freckles. The alternate expression kind of confirms that this is a generic part. For all her quirks, I think Luna was always very happy. The long silvery blonde hair is a perfect choice for the character, and makes me wonder whether Luna had some Veela in her ancestry. Now of course we have to check that the minifigure matches the character in the movie, which is a bit of a problem. Luna Lovegood does not make an appearance in the movie or the book until Book 5, The Order of the Phoenix. Loony Luna Lovegood was actually in the year below Harry and started at the same time as Ginny Weasley. Here she is compared to a rather older Luna Lovegood. The resemblance is pretty good, but that generic face does kind of stand out. I still find it very odd that they included Luna in this set. Notwithstanding, she is a great minifigure and it's awesome to get that Ravenclaw torso. Moving on to the teaching staff, this is Gilderoy Lockhart, Order of Merlin 3rd Class, honorary member of the Dark Force Defence League, 5 times winner of Witch Weekly's Most Charming Smile Award, and inventor of an Occamy egg yolk shampoo. Like many of the characters in Harry Potter, Lockhart was played by a very prestigious actor, in this case Sir Kenneth Branagh. Other notable thespians include Dame Maggie Smith and Sir Richard Harris, who we'll come back to shortly. These guys were all happy to do it for the prestige, while Zoe Wanamaker, who played Madame Hooch, complained about the money and refused to do any more movies. Although Lockhart had many costume changes, this is what he was wearing towards the end of the movie. The legs are standard minifigure legs and disappointingly have no printing. The torso is nicely printed with a white shirt, very fashionable cravat, embroidered vest, and a rather dapper set of robes. Angling the torso towards the light, you'll notice we've got some really nice metallic printing. More detail around the back captures the creases in the robes, a couple of buttons which keep everything tightly tucked together, and you can just make out the back of the cravat. The facial print is a great recreation of Lockhart and fits perfectly with the story. Here we see him sweating when Harry and Ron find him out for the fraud that he is. A fraud he may be, but he also has a dark side, and this expression captures it perfectly. Say goodbye to your memories, boys! The colour of Lockhart's suit in the movie was definitely more salmon pink, but the minifigure overall does a really good job of recreating the character from the movie. There are now a total of 4 Lockhart minifigures, and I thought it would be cool to compare this one to the 2002 version from the Chamber of Secrets set. You can definitely tell what LEGO was trying to capture with that sinister, creepy smile. I would point out Lockhart's particularly well coiffured hair, but as we discovered earlier, this is actually a wig. Lockhart is definitely one of the more eccentric Harry Potter characters, and I think LEGO has done a really nice job of bringing him to life in minifigure form. After the terrible fraud that was Gilderoy Lockhart, we've got Gandalf in a colourful frock. No, of course this is Professor Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore, Order of Merlin First Class. The one detail LEGO always misses from Dumbledore in the first 2 movies is his hat. They get the hair and beard pretty much right, but always forget the hat. His robes are absolutely perfect with lots of detailed printing. It's especially pleasing that LEGO used a curved element instead of just slapping on some legs. With the beard removed, we can see the smiling face that lies underneath. I really like the gold printing for Dumbledore's half-moon spectacles. Continuing down the body, you can see the impressive embroidery upon the robes. LEGO has done a really nice job continuing the printing from the torso down onto the leg piece. They also included some rather splendid metallic details. That metallic detail continues on the back of the torso, and could this be the missing hat? Getting back to that facial expression, it is really nicely done, and I love Dumbledore's smile. The alternate expression is slightly more subtle and shows Dumbledore with a more knowing look. Reunited with his hair and his beard, he looks slightly less like John Hammond, the billionaire owner of Jurassic Park. It would be nice to see some grey in the hair to match the movie, but it's not a bad look. Dumbledore comes with a tan-coloured wand, which will of course at this stage in the movie series be the Elder Wand. It later passed allegiance to Draco Malfoy, who never wielded it, Lord Voldermort, who never mastered it, and then to Harry Potter, who snapped it into little pieces. Although not flawless, the minifigure does a pretty good job of recreating Albus Dumbledore as pictured in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. This would be the last time veteran actor Richard Harris played the role. He sadly died a couple of weeks before the movie was released. Moving on from a character who gets extensive screen time, here's a character who appears on screen for a very short amount of time. This is Professor Aurora Sinistra, who taught astronomy at Hogwarts. Referring to the book, she was present when Justin Finch-Fletchley was found petrified. In the movie, it was Harry who stumbled on the stricken Hufflepuff. The minifigure is beautifully printed with some really nice metallic details. Just like Dumbledore, Sinistra also has one of the curved leg pieces. We don't get a very good look at the costume in the movie, but I'm sure LEGO have seen some of the designs for the costume. I've got to say this looks very good, and even better when the light shines on those metallic details. Speaking of metallic details, notice how the arms are a different colour to the body. The torso printing is also really crisp, and underneath the gold coloured robes, Sinistra's clothes have a kind of leaf pattern. There's more printing around the back, showing creases in the robes and picking out the contours of Aurora's body. The mould for the hat with inbuilt hair is absolutely superb. Technically the hat should have some black decoration above the rim, but I guess that would be really hard to print. The hat is dual moulded from 2 different colours of plastic and incorporates Sinistra's black hair. The astronomy professor was well known for being quite strict. As you can see here, she does look quite stern, especially with those half-moon gold spectacles. The other expression, minus those reading glasses, is much more friendly. I love it when LEGO includes the more obscure minifigures within a set. My main criticism here is that Aurora Sinistra is in the wrong set. This of course is based on Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. The only reference material I could find for Aurora Sinistra comes from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Yes, Philosopher's Stone and not Sorcerer's Stone, get over it America. This is a really nice minifigure with some really crisp printing, the added bonus of rarity, and she has to be one of my top 3 from the set. From a character who was barely seen in the movie, we move on to a character you could barely see. This is Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington, otherwise known as Nearly Headless Nick. He was played by the excellent John Cleese of Monty Python fame, and the similarity is absolutely stunning. Speaking of stunning, check out this alternate facial expression. I believe this is meant to be Sir Nicholas after he was petrified by the basilisk. Sir Nicholas is dressed in Tudor costume typical of the period when he died. LEGO has done an absolutely stunning job of recreating this on the minifigure. It's almost identical to what we saw in the movie. He has long printed minifigure legs complete with metallic detail, and is wearing a really nice set of breeches. That's what Tudor folk wore instead of trousers. The torso printing is equally impressive. It shows Sir Nicholas wearing a ruff around the neck, and a tight-fitting doublet which would have been the height of fashion in 1492. That printing continues around the back and really comes to life when you tilt it towards the light. The hair with the receding hairline is a good choice for Sir Nicholas. Sir Nicholas wasn't always nearly headless. He used to be a wizard of the royal court but was executed after a magical mishap with Lady Grieve. He tried to straighten her teeth but it backfired and she grew tusks. Because of a botched decapitation, Sir Nicholas never did get to join the Headless Hunt. You may have noticed this guy is a funny colour, and for good reason. Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington glows in the dark. This will take some finagling with the camera and the killing of lights, but here goes. I'm super impressed by how bright this thing glows. It's far superior to the glow-in-the-dark Voldemort, which was frankly terrible. Finally, and thankfully because you must be sick of my voice by now, it's Goldie Voldy. The Summer 2021 sets contain 6 of these gold 20th anniversary minifigures. Last time we got a gold 1/1, and this time it's Lord Voldermort. Each one of the 20th anniversary minifigures stands on one of these gold minifigure base plates. They also have one of these gold wands, which is a brand new colour. Hoverdar Kedavra! Settle down, Voldy. Not now, Colin. Man, it's a zoo around here. The printing is simple, elegant, and I love the metallic gold detail. Here we see Voldemort in the robes that he was wearing after being resurrected in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. It's quite ironic given this set is based on the Chamber of Secrets. Instead of using minifigure legs, we've got another one of these curved pieces for Voldemort's robes. You'll also notice that Voldy Goldie has advertising printed on the back of the torso celebrating 20 years of LEGO Harry Potter. There is only one facial expression, and this is neatly done. It's a very placid, soulless expression. Ironically, Voldemort doesn't have a nose, but he's probably the only minifigure to actually be given one. As if LEGO sets aren't collectible enough, these minifigures do add a little bit of pressure to make us collect them all. But that is not all. Oh no, that is not all. This set also includes 6 random collectible wizard cards. There are 16 of these in total to collect, and I got 4 of these in the last set I reviewed. So here they are, all 6 of the random wizard cards. These tiles are made to look like the holographic cards you get inside chocolate frogs. These are jolly nice things, and I certainly appreciate the metallic printing. In this set I got Albus Dumbledore as depicted by Michael Gambon, Potions Master Severus Snape, Magizoologist Newt Scamander, Seraphina Pickery, also from Fantastic Beasts. I'm pretty sure this is Garrick Ollivander, and dang, another Seraphina Pickery. Unfortunately, after only 2 sets, I already have a couple of duplicates. Thankfully there are 4 more sets to review, so hopefully I'll get all 16. So that was set number 76389, Hogwarts Chamber of Secrets from LEGO Harry Potter. Although this set has faults, such as the missing forks and Dumbledore's hat, we know you've got the moulds for those, LEGO. The end result balances playability, displayability, and has enough details to geek out the most hardcore of Potterheads. As a recreation of the Chamber of Secrets, I still prefer the 2002 set, which will always be among my favourites. The 2021 Basilisk may be more faithful to the movie, but I still have a soft spot for those yellow eyes and glow-in-the-dark daggers for teeth. Standout details for me include the Cornish Pixies, Colin Creevey with his camera, the breakfast cereals, even though they showed up in the Order of the Phoenix, and other nods to the movie such as Lockhart's wig. Hogwarts Castle looks great, and I love the way it sits on top of the Chamber of Secrets. Another thing I really like about this set is the inclusion of glow-in-the-dark elements. Speaking of which, let's kill the lights! These phosphorescent elements really add an extra dimension to the set, and the nearly Headless Nick minifigure is superb. Speaking of minifigures, this is a very interesting selection, and with 11 in total, it definitely makes this set quite a compelling buy. I'll never understand why Luna is here, but it's great to get Colin Creevey, Justin Finch-Fletchley, and Aurora Sinistra, who've never been featured in LEGO sets before. The main disappointment with this set is the tunnel that leads into the Chamber of Secrets, which is blocked off by the Defence Against the Dark Arts classroom. Thankfully next time, we'll be taking a look at the Hogwarts Chamber of Secrets expansion pack, Hogwarts Polyjuice Potion Mistake, which builds the missing second floor girls' lavatory complete with makeshift potions lab. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out, and also check out my Instagram @JeremyHerbertOfficial. When I'm not building LEGO, I love to visit Harry Potter filming locations. You'll find pictures of my recent pilgrimage to Dobby's grave on Instagram. As always, if you enjoyed the video, send money. But if you don't want to send money, a thumbs up is always appreciated. I'll be opening up the Chamber of LEGO Harry Potter goodness again soon. So thanks a million for checking out the review, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next build video.